My brother Fung Pramati killed someone. The police held his head to the ground, handcuffed him. Blood splattered on his face to hide the bruises, and he grinned at me as he was led to the police van. I have no regrets, sis. Tears welled up in my eyes, and I slapped the car door frantically. My brother did it in self-defense. He did it to save me. All this is because of Jia. She and some boys stopped me on the way home from school, taunted me, called me fat, humiliated me, made fun of me. My brother saw it and argued with them for me. A few of them started beating my brother. My brother fought back, picking up bricks and throwing them at a man's head. To my surprise, the man died on the spot. My brother was sentenced. A junior high school student, the future destroyed. My mother almost died crying. My father called me a pest. And this just Jia to me the beginning of bullying. Because of this, our family has undergone earth-shaking changes. My father worried about a night of white hair. My mother all day with tears. Originally happy family became lifeless. And I live in remorse all day, all night insomnia. I want to save my brother. I think a lot, and now the only way to save my brother is to beg Jia, the originator of my brother, to testify that he is legitimate defense. So, the first day I went to school, I went to see Jia. When I found her, she was smoking in the bathroom with a group of little sisters. She looked at me and laughed. Fat fuck, how do you come to school? Jia is a famous elder sister in our class. At the beginning of school, she regarded me as a thorn in her side, as if we were born to hate each other. Every time she taunted me. You saw what happened that day. They started it. My brother acted in self-defense. I beg you, testify for my brother. With tears in my eyes, I was as humble as dust. But after Jia listens, roars with laughter, smiles exceptionally and ruthlessly. You fat fuck, you want me to help you? Fine, get on your knees and beg. Jia spit smoke ring, smiling at me, like a devil, while my dignity trampled on the ground ruthless trample. Get on your knees and beg, and I'll help you. Get on your knees. Jia with words constantly stimulate me. My heart is extremely complex, don't want to give in, but helpless. This is the only way to save my brother. He is only a child. Do you really want to go to prison with a record for life? No. I can't ruin his life, his future. Mean. I bent my knees and knelt in front of Jia. At the moment, all my self-esteem was thrown out of my mind. I looked at Jia nervously, begging. I beg you, help me. And they looked at me, as if to see the clown, laugh back and forth. Haha, look at her kneeling on the ground, more like a big fat pig. She's such a fool to think I'd help her, haha. Ha 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 ha. Jia and her little sisters laugh all the time, but I like to seize the last straw. Firmly seize Jia trouser legs, continue to humbly beg. I count out to you, you saved my brother. He's only 18. He's a child. Please help him. Jia gave me a hard kick in the heart. I fell to the ground, clutching my chest and coughing. She looked disgusted and disdainful. You fat fuck, I'm sick of seeing you. Get out of here. She stubbed out the cigarette, threw the butt in my face, and waved the girls away behind her. Oh, his mother is such an idiot. Ha 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 ha. Their laughter continued to spread. I am powerless to sit on the ground. Tears flow out of disappointing, heart full of helplessness and despair. How on earth can I save you? Brother. I went back to the classroom. I heard that Jia was called to the office by the dean. When she came back, she turned my desk upside down. She pulled at my collar, stared at me, and shouted, "Did you tell the teacher that I smoked?" I shook my head, but she obviously didn't believe me. You were the only one who saw me smoke. Who else could it have been? You fucking. Mom thinks I'm stupid. Where's B? The noise was so loud that all the students in the class looked at us. My face flushed with anxiety, but I insisted to tell her, not me, I have no, don't nonsense. She gave me a hard push on the shoulder. I didn't stand still. She pushed me to the ground. My head hit the back of the table. My eyes went black. I covered the back of my head in pain, almost tears. Who doesn't know you're the teacher's lackey? Chin Ling, don't you dare offend me. This isn't over. Dropping a threatening word, she turned and walked away. I watched his angry back as he scrambled to his feet, his face sad. Jia, this has completely misunderstood me. Then she will help me testify? However, what me did not expect is that Jia's revenge on me to come so quickly. In the afternoon, the class teacher called me to the office, the room Jia and her 2 little sisters are also in. See me come in, they 3 look is consistent disgust. And the class teacher at this time also asked, Qinling, do you see a diamond ring shaped like a heart? I shook my head, a little confused. Unexpectedly, Jia's eye blue one suddenly jumped out, pointing to me on the complaint. Teacher, she lied. I saw with my own eyes is that she stole the diamond ring hidden in the pocket. I'm confused. What diamond ring? Before I could react, Jia rushed over, tugging at my school uniform, and took out a strange heart-shaped diamond ring from his pocket. Stolen goods and stolen goods. Jia looked at me, proudly raised his chin. This time you see how sophistry. What's going on? I was startled, sweating, and anxiously explained, I've never seen this diamond ring. What are you pretending? We 3 all saw you go through the teacher's drawer during recess under the guise of handing in your homework. That is, if the ring is out of your pocket, why put it in? Fortunately, the students did not expect so dirty hands and feet. The 3 of them took one look at me and blamed me for the crime. Teacher, it's really not me. I didn't steal it, really. I looked at the head teacher and almost cried. The head teacher frowned and looked at me with disappointment in his eyes. My students can learn badly, but there must be no moral problems. Let your parents come. Teacher, it's not me. All 3 of them said the same thing, and I was wrong to death, and it was no use arguing with them. I bite my lip and watch the teacher call my dad to school. After my dad knew the whole story, he slapped me in the face right in front of them without even hearing me explain. He glared angrily at me with scarlet eyes and said angrily, You've learned to steal, haven't you? The left side of my face became red and swollen, and I felt a burning pain. How do I usually educate you? You give me such a disgrace in school. Open mouth, I just want to explain. My father grabbed my collar, directly pulled me in front of the head teacher, pressed my head a strong bow to the teacher. Why don't you apologize to your teacher? Come on. Say you'll never steal again, say it. My father's strength is very big. I was pressed by him, could not raise his head. Not only the body, but also my self-esteem. Even family members do not believe me. I still expect outsiders to believe me? That's ridiculous. Aggrieved, sad, and all kinds of negative emotions weigh me down. The whole person became a pool of stagnant water, like a marionette. Gave up the struggle, only to know the mechanical repetition of my father's words. I'm sorry, teacher. I won't steal anymore. Excuse me. The head teacher waved his hand, said forget it, my father just let go of me. My head was spinning and tears were rolling in my eyes, but it was clear that my father's eyes were filled with disappointment and disgust. They must have hated me. I stumbled out of the office feeling a little giddy at my feet. As soon as I grabbed the banister and tried to go downstairs, I was shoved from behind, kicked in the air, and fell off the 2nd floor. My head one step after another to knock on the top. The pain almost lost consciousness. A touch of the head found knock out a big bag. The tip of the nose faintly came the smell of blood. Ha ha ha, look at Qinling, that fat bastard. He fell and ate shit. Air of ridicule, and I lie on the ground but cannot move. Only see Jia slowly from the stairs down. A face of malicious, but also packed sympathy said, Oh, why did you fall down the stairs so carelessly? Clearly, it was she who pushed me down. I red eyes staring at her, but she was laughing. Your brother murderer, you are a thief, your family is really talented AH. Struggling to get up from the ground, I shook with anger and shouted at her, My brother is not a murderer. Qinling, what are you arguing about? Don't make any noise in the corridor, don't you know? The class teacher interrupted me with a growl. I looked at her face disgusted with my expression. My heart suddenly some sad. Beside Jia's smile satisfied. She and I passed by. With only the 2 of us can hear the voice said to me. Everybody hates you now, fat fuck. Tears blurred my line of sight. At the moment, a sense of powerlessness filled the body. What should I do? I cannot even save themselves. And how to save my brother? I'm a loser. Decadent to go home. My father will tell my mother today. See me back. Talk suddenly stopped. I pinched the palm of the hand. Toward them shouted, Mom, Dad, I'm home. But they both ignored me and got up and went back to their rooms. If it weren't for the look of disgust in their eyes, I might have thought they couldn't see me. Their indifference, alienation, so that my nose is very uncomfortable, subconsciously raised his head, will soon shed tears to endure back. It's time to eat. My father no longer nags me to eat like he used to. I saw nothing but the remains of the pot and my face darkened. A sense of unspeakable grievance and sadness enveloped me. I ran back to the room silently holding the pillow crying. Dare not make a sound. I am afraid to disturb my parents. Now that they hate me so much, I can't. Never let them think I'm boring again. In the past, my mother would come into the bedroom and ask me if I had been wronged, and then comfort me. But now my mother didn't look at me, even though the tears had drenched my pillow. Their indifference let me feel strange, my heart empty. Subconsciously hugged the pillow. Greedily absorbed the above, the only trace of temperature. The sunset outside the window. The sky is dark, just like my future. No hope of light. Zhao Jia is right. They all hate me. The next day, I came to school. Instead, I found my seat like a garbage dump. My desk drawers filled with garbage. My textbooks dripping with red oil from greasy wrappers, and the whole place reeking. I quickly put away the garbage on the textbook, but found that every page of the textbook is full of bitch. Words like son and fat pig. I angrily looked around, and sure enough, Zhao Jia and her several little sisters are giving each other eyes, then to me with a provocative smile. They seem to say, what can you do? Yes, what can I do? The teacher has completely abandoned me, and even my parents are very disappointed in me. Fighting back tears, I picked up the trash on my desk while my classmates got dressed and went to pee, which was inspected and videotaped by the district leaders. The teacher let us get ready early in the morning to use sportswear in physical education. I also worry that Zhao Jia will not lock the door of my cabinet, but the door was safe and sound. Even my sportswear is also intact in the cabinet. A sigh of relief. I changed my clothes in a hurry and hurried to the playground. They had already started class and the seats were all set, so I was scolded by the PE teacher and placed at the front. Music is playing in the class. With a stooping motion, I heard a pull and a cool breeze, and before I knew what was happening, there was a burst of laughter behind me. Ha ha ha. Her fat pants are torn. Look at her fat white ass, ha 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 ha. The laughter continued, and I also reflected the moment, hastened to cover his pants, blushed to find a crack to get into. The teachers couldn't help laughing, and here I stood, feeling as if I had been stripped naked, leaving them to watch and laugh. Almost subconsciously, I looked toward Zhao Jia, saw her arms, and did not show surprise with them smile, face expression as expected. I knew in an instant. She didn't lock my closet door, she touched my clothes. She made me look like a fool on purpose. I was scolded by the teacher back to change clothes, come back. I just clothes broken video has been Zhao Jia sent to the class group. Group message suddenly topped to 99 plus. They forwarded the video like crazy laughing. And Zhao Jia also seems not satisfied. She in the group while I stole the teacher diamond ring thing also burst out. Just 10 minutes time. I became a school celebrity. They point fingers wherever they go. I dare not lift my head again. And then, everyone in the class who lost something, they will suspect me. No matter how I explain, they don't believe. In the end, I gradually understand. They deliberately set me up. How can you believe me? I held my tongue, but they still won't leave me alone. When I went to the toilet, a bucket of cold water poured straight down from the head. Soaking wet, the cold temperature made my whole body shiver. I opened the door to get out, but found the door of the toilet when someone locked from the outside. Haha. Outside the door came the sound of stolen laughter. I have some tired feeling of powerlessness, and who is this prank? Somebody, let me out. Help. I kept calling out for help, but I screamed until I lost my voice, and still no one paid any attention. No one's coming for me. I am powerless to hang down his head. Tears flow down disappointingly, the heart soreness of the uncomfortable. I don't know. What did I do wrong? Why did they do this to me? Just when I thought I would be locked up until tomorrow, there was a sudden rustle outside the toilet. The sudden noise almost made me subconsciously think it was Jia. The whole person momentarily tense up. The heart, bang, is about to jump out of the throat like, is someone in there? Strange voice, not Jia. Like suddenly saw the hope. I toward the outside, desperately crying for help. Someone. My voice trembled uncontrollably, crying for help. Please, help me open the bathroom door. Please. I listened carefully, but there is no movement outside. Just also excited heart once again fell to the bottom. Of course. Still, no one will help me. Just then, a light shone in. The bathroom door opened from the outside. I looked up. A girl with short bangs and glasses was looking at me. Very familiar, like Class 3, Sulu. Finally saved. I excitedly read eyes, tears streaming out at any time. Are you okay? She asked worriedly, seeing me in great distress. I shook my head gratefully, opening my mouth to thank her, but my voice was full of tears. I was terrified. Thank you. Thank you so much. Sulu smiled at me and waved her hand away. I looked at her back and felt her glow, shining light into my dark world. These days, she's the only one who cares about me, even if she's just a stranger. But at this time I never thought she would, because of such a small act of kindness, and defend Jia. The next day, I heard that something had happened to Class 3. When I arrived, the desks and chairs had been overturned, and the books had been thrown on the ground at random. There were black shoe prints on them. I looked carefully, and it was Sulu's name under the shoe prints. Teach her a lesson. Jia's voice was clear and raspy. I looked, only to see her side of the Luan is holding Sulu's hair, fiercely flashing her face. Sulu's face had been hit red and swollen, full of tears, pain and wailing, and Luan did not have the slightest intention to stop. Her face showed malicious, sinister smile. Sulu was surrounded by Jia's people. 3 classes did not dare to come forward to stop. Mind your own business, mind your own business. With their curse, Luan falling palms more and more dense, more and more ruthless. Too late to think, I rushed forward. Protect in front of Sulu, Jia said. Toward my stomach, directly kicked a foot. I was not prepared. She kicked on the ground. Pain curled up. How dare you? I'll kill you today. Say it. Jia with her people directly put me and Sulu surrounded. A fist kick. I wailed with pain, but still don't forget to protect Sulu. Sulu afraid to cry. The whole body cannot control trembling. I held her tightly. Endure the pain over and over again. Don't be afraid. I am in. Don't be afraid. Shoot these 2 bitches. Insults, mixed with punches, fell on both of us. I felt blood in my mouth. I felt as if I had lost consciousness. At this moment, Class 3 has become a purgatory. Tired from the fight, they finally stopped. Jia tugged at my collar and pushed me away. He stared at Sulu with cold eyes. I saw something wrong. I wanted to go over and protect Sulu. Who would have thought? But by Jia's person, 1 left, 1 right clamps the arm. The slightest cannot move. Jia looked at Sulu. The corner of the mouth mercilessly evoke, shows sneer at, seemed to be the devil of hell. How do you help her? Dickhead. Cunt. I'll kill you today. With that, she was about to swing her hand towards Sulu's head, hit hard. Who knows? In the moment she was about to meet Sulu suddenly twitched a bit. Jia was startled, retracted his hand back 2 steps. Then Sulu, her eyes white, fell to the ground. Her body convulsed uncontrollably, her arms and legs bent, her mouth foaming, as if she were having a seizure. WTF. Luan let out an exclamation and burst into laughter. Ha ha ha, Jia, you're scaring her into a seizure. Jia quickly came to his senses and laughed. He took out his cell phone and patted Sulu. "It's really him," he said. Mom laughed me to death. Ha ha ha. You see her smoking that dumb. All right. At the moment, no one of the 3 classes to help her, but are sitting on the seat a look at the scene. Sulu. I took advantage of their distraction, a break from their prison, rushed forward in a hurry, pulled her. But the convulsions grew worse, and her tongue came out uncontrollably, and the trembling teeth threatened to bite it. Before I could think about it, I shoved my arm into her mouth. Strong pain instantly hit. I feel her arm to be bitten off a piece of flesh down. Can look at the pain of Sulu. Even the pain was sweating. Also gnash their teeth and insist. Great noise attracted the teacher. Class 3 teacher helped Sulu dial 120. Watching Sulu on the ambulance, I thought of his arm has been bitten by her deeply a tooth mark. Scarlet blood dripped down the wound. The cold wind made me shiver with pain. This matter alarmed our class teacher. I and Jie were called to ask questions. Tell me what's going on, you two. Standing aside, Jie shrugged her shoulders indifferently and said with a side lip, "She has a seizure of her own. Why should I care?" With that, she sneered and began to question. "Is it my fault she died of epilepsy? It was you who beat Sulu and made her ill." I was trembling with anger, pointing at her shouting, "You put me in the toilet. Sulu let me. You deliberately retaliate against her. It's you. You're the one who started the bullying." In front of the head teacher, I told her all her guilt. "I'm going to report her. I want her to get what she deserves." Class teacher smells speech, frowned, with a look at Jie, asked, "What she said is true?" Jie smiles, "Don't think so at all. Sir, her brother is a murderer, and she is a thief herself. Do you think her story is believable? Besides, you can ask the other students if I have bullying or not." The class teacher seems to think Jie said some truth, with 2 of us went directly to class 3. Standing on the podium, the class teacher asked 3 students have seen Jie play Sulu. Who knew? The whole 3 classes, incredibly, no one dared to identify Jie. Jie hugged and smiled proudly. "Teacher, now you know who to believe." The face of the class teacher is very ugly. Maliciously white I look. Then I and Jie called to the office. Before leaving, Jie leaned over to me and whispered in a voice that only the 2 of us could hear, "Qinling, you can't fight me." At this moment, I feel my heart completely collapsed. There is no justice between heaven and earth. The head teacher had a bad impression of me, first criticized me, and then looked disappointed with me. "Qinling, you are a good student. I don't know why you're like this. It's okay to steal things, but I still wrong my classmates. You apologize to Jie right now, do you hear me?" Hear this sentence, I was cold, could not stop the shivering. I could not believe it, looked at the teacher, clenched his fist. "Did you hear that? Apologize to Jie. I'm not sorry. For the first time, I chose to fight." The head teacher was so angry that her heart rose and fell, and she cursed at me. "Look at you now. You'll end up in jail just like your brother." I closed my lips, don't speak. I don't admit mistakes. Thoroughly annoyed the head teacher. Angrily, she slapped the table and shouted at me, "You're going to stand here until after school." Then she walked away with the teaching plan in her hand. And Jie is obviously also didn't expect me to resist, so eyebrows flirtatious, eyes with maliciously glared at me, warning to leave. You give me weight. The world is fickle, but the human heart is unpredictable. Watching them leave, I just felt suffocated, heart like a big stone, like tightly suppressed. Simply cannot help me. I didn't leave school until it was dark. A group of boys wearing high school uniforms blocked me in the road. Toward my malicious smile, I instantly understand my resistance and attracted Jie's revenge. She thinks I'm against her. I subconsciously wanted to escape, but when I ran to the alley, they chased me. A group of boys in high school uniforms blocked me in the road. To my malicious smile, I subconsciously want to escape, but ran to the alley when they caught up. "What do you want?" I looked at them in fear, waiting for a chance to ask for help. But unexpectedly, here is too remote. Even a camera is not. My heart suddenly cool half. Watching them, a big individual, malicious look, my legs and hands cannot stop shaking. At this time, Jia half smiled and walked from behind. Holding his hands, condescendingly looked at me and said, "Now no afraid? Weren't you crazy at school? Jia, what on earth do you want?" As soon as the words fell, the two boys grabbed my arm, and before I could react, Jia raised his arm and slapped me hard in the face. "I'll teach you a lesson today." Her voice rose higher and higher, and she tugged at my hair and pulled it back. The pain from my scalp made me feel a little dazed. "Let go of me, Jia. I'll call the police." Jia shows smiling face, although being laugh, but chilliness lets me shiver however. "Think about whether you can get out of here alive." With that, she took out a fruit knife from her pocket, its sharp edge reflecting a chilling light. The point of the knife was approaching me, and when it was less than 5 centimeters from me, a cold sound interrupted her. Wait, I saw a boy with bright eyes came from behind. He didn't wear a school uniform. Instead, he wore a neat white shirt, collar slightly open to reveal his visible collarbone, with a certain swagger. He looked suave and not like them. I thought I saw the savior, but what he said next made me stiff. "I wonder what a fat man looks like with his head shaved off." His voice was hoarse and languid, with untamed malice. "He's the devil in human skin." Jia smiles and hugs the arm of this man affectionately. "Jia, dear, your trick idea is most." With that, he handed the knife to the boy beside him and said, "Shave all her hair, not a hair left. I dare her to be so crazy at school." The man took the knife, smiled, and walked toward me. I tried to calm the unstable breathing. Looking at the man gradually close to me, I seized the space, clenched his fist, find the opportunity. A push away Jia. Jia didn't prepare. Was I this suddenly push? A direct stumble fell to the ground, screamed. Her boyfriend tried to help her, and I rushed out of the gap they had made for me. I tried to run away. Just when I was about to run into the crowded street, I was caught up by them. Just now the man was holding my hair. The huge strength made me all back. It was a terrible flip. They dragged me back to where I had been and started cutting my hair frantically with knives. "Help! Let go of me! Help! Somebody help me!" I desperately cry for help, but Jia kicked a foot ahead. At the moment her mouth has no smile, I know. She is really angry. She would kick and punch me. Her hair would fall out in strands. The pain of my body and my pride would make me cry, and I would become their drug, the constant wailing. I don't know how long it took. They finally let me go, and I was lying in a pool of blood, powerless. Jia raised my chin, laughed extremely arrogant, and I don't know is tears or blood paced the eyes. I looked at her, only feel very tired. I even thought she might as well just kill me. "Remember, Qinling, this is what happens when you cross me." The laughter around their ears is so unscrupulous. Jia finally kicked me hard in the head. I have no strength to resist. Like a dead fish collapsed on the ground. Looking at them one by one to leave, Jia's boyfriend, like to see a garbage, so on my hand, walked forward. The pain in my fingers makes me scream and sweat. They are no longer men, but devils. In this torture, I finally cannot survive. Plunged into total darkness. When I woke up, it was in the hospital. My father kept beside me, a face of fatigue and irritability. See, I woke up without the slightest concern, but extremely disappointed. "Will you please stop causing me trouble? I'm confused." I thought I was the perpetrator, not the victim, until I felt the pain of his words. "You've turned this house upside down. Your brother's life is ruined because of you." His voice was slightly choked with anger. "You're still hanging around with those hooligans. If you don't learn, go and fight with them. Qinling, you let your mother and me down." It was like a blow to the head. I looked at my dad in disbelief. "Who are you listening to?" "Your classmate Jia. When it comes to her, you should really learn from others. You're in a coma and none of your classmates came. She came to the hospital to see you." What an understanding child. I only felt as if I had heard the most ridiculous words in my life. Yes, it was considerate not to shoot me dead, but to leave me half alive. The corners of my mouth were smirking, mocking. My dad still thinks I'm raving. What nonsense, you child. I let you and good students to learn. It's for your good. Is it not harm you? You're damn right it is. What else can I say? It was my good parents who pushed me into the abyss. What could I do? She was in hospital for a whole week just before she was discharged. I actually saw Sue Lu in the hospital. She was covered with blood, pale as paper, lying in the ambulance, was pushed into the emergency room by the nurse, his parents crying outside the door. Especially his mother, scared, covered with sweat, cannot stand up, has been holding his father. There was a clatter in my heart and a bad feeling arose. Sue Lu, what's wrong with her? I staggered forward, my legs a little weak, and my voice was filled with tears. I'm Sue Lu's classmate. What happened to Sue Lu? Her mother looked at me, with tears in his face, opened his mouth to talk, but choked with sobs, could not make a sound. Or his father told me, he said. Sue Lu killed herself. Only 5 words, but scared me directly to kneel on the ground. Incredulous muttered, how? At last the tears seemed to stop my throat, and I could not make a sound. At this very moment, the doctor came out of the emergency room and looked at us with regret on his face. I'm sorry, but the patient has lost too much blood and is inoperative. Time of death, October 9, 2022, 7:36 a.m. It was like a death sentence, and after the doctor had said it, I felt suffocated, and before I could shed a tear, I blacked out and passed out. Sue's funeral was held 3 days later. It was light raining that day, the weather was gloomy and depressing. Sue Lu's mother sent him to the funeral with a list of photos. Black and white photos, Sue Lu smiles at Jean Renoir. But everyone knows that if she was happy, she wouldn't have killed herself. Bowing deeply to her, I left. The drizzle on my face, the cold touch is not as cold as my heart. Watching the video of Sue Lu foaming at the mouth and convulsing into a ball in the class group was made into a ghost animal video, and some people took screenshots and added spoof special effects to make emoticons, which circulated wildly on the internet and made jokes. In their eyes, it was a joke. But in the parties, it is how painful injury. They don't understand. Because they don't deserve to be called people. I contacted my cousin, a well-known hacker, and I begged him to help me find out where the video came from, and within moments, he had sent me his IP address. I know the address. It's Zhao Jie's house. This video was made by Zhao Jiefa. After learning the truth, I was not surprised at all, even somewhat expectant. Who else could hate me so much? Thunder clouds rolling, pouring rain hit the moment, as if Sue Lu said to me again, she died before, how painful, how wronged. I looked up at the sky, silently clenched my fists, swearing, I want revenge. I must have my revenge. I won't let go of anyone who bullies me. I want to let Zhao Jie experience the same despair. I want to let Zhao Jie get deserved retribution. I want a Sue Lu justice. 12. Out of revenge, I started losing weight. Before my brother had an accident, my parents were very kind to me. When I was a child, I was always worried that I didn't have enough to eat, so I was always indulgent in eating, which led to my childhood being fatter. But now because I'm fat, how much ridicule and cold shoulder. I've had enough. I'm determined to lose weight now. At the same time, I let my cousin found Zhao Jie his boyfriend's game account, registered as small, added his game friends. At the beginning, my skill was very poor, so I let my cousin play for me, and I trained myself to be a hero. Later, after my cousin helped him on one dan after another, he began to pay attention to me, and at this time I was under my cousin's training, and his skills and equal. I want the account back, every night to accompany him to upgrade. I deliberately open voice to talk to him. Clear and melodious voice instantly let him interested. And I was in the game to protect him for the purpose of only a drop of blood, will block in front of him to protect his life. After a while, he couldn't help but ask to be my friend. At this point, I will set the WeChat avatar into a back. Long hair, white t-shirt, short skirt, facing the sky, the knee posture, showing a lively and lovely momentum. The figure is slender, nifty and lovely. Obviously, it wasn't me. But in order to deliberately let Zhao Jie boyfriend think it is me, I will look for similar net map from the internet every other week on the circle of friends with a nifty copywriting. From just sharing links to games to sharing our lives. We're getting closer. And that's not enough. I let my cousin invaded Zhao Jie's computer, trying to find some clues, but her computer is very clean and nothing useful to me. For this reason, I am still a little lost. Until my cousin reinstated a chat in the blacklist. Read immediately, my mouth is not from the ground up, and even my side of the cousin are too sound, said, "This Zhao Jie is really not the usual ruthless cousin, send it to Jihan anonymously." My cousin immediately nodded and sent the chat logs in a packet. The chat content is very dark, almost all of Zhao Jie's threats and warnings, rude vulgar language. There are a lot of girls beg for mercy, but this has more increased Zhao Jie's power. Please, don't let anyone hit me anymore. Now no afraid, when you seduce Jihan that cheap like. Subsequently, is a section of Zhao Jie with 4 or 5 girls will block the girl in the toilet beating video. In the video, the girl is covered with blood, crouching in the corner, but Zhao Jie still refused to give up, pulling her hair, also a force to hit the wall. The girls cried and shouted for help, but all they got was their wild laughter. This kind of bullying has happened many times in the alleys outside the school, in the abandoned factory buildings, and in the school toilets. In many places, girls covered in blood, helpless eyes. I saw it, but I felt as if my heart had been weighed down with a heavy stone, and I couldn't breathe. Zhao Jie is a devil. The girl was unkempt and covered in blood in the video, but I recognized her. She was in Chi's class, and I'd heard before that she was Chi's desk mate, and she had a crush on her. The whole school thought they were going to be together, but for some reason, the girl suddenly dropped out. Watching the screen, looping the video, the girl's shrill screams, I think, this moment I know. I let my cousin to Jihan and Zhao Jie computer mobile phone were implanted with the virus. I can watch 2 people from the mobile phone in real time. As soon as this chat logs in, the eyes in front of the phone lens suddenly cooled down, frown dead wrinkled together. He angrily threw a cup, rub, to stand up, called Zhao Jie. I've got a pretty good ear on the phone. Did you bother Song Jie? No. Why do you suddenly ask? Jihan mixed with anger in the face of questioning. Zhao Jie immediately chose to play dumb. Dead, do not admit. Are you still trying to lie to me? I saw your chat record with Song Jie and the video evidence. What else do you want to argue? Okay, Zhao Jie, how dare you fuck behind my back? 13. Jihan was so angry that he raised his voice unconsciously. How many more shameful things have you done behind my back? At this moment, Jihan has begun to no longer trust Zhao Jie. And Zhao Jie was exposed the truth, suddenly angry, hysterical up. She seduced you. Damn her. I've been kind to her for your sake. What more do you want from me? Jihan was here, livid and sulky. Suddenly, Zhao Jie seems to calm down. The tone becomes gentle. Jihan, you know how I feel about you. I love you so much. I can't live without you. I'm doing this because I love you. I'm only jealous because I love you. Jihan is a typical eat soft, don't eat hard. She this ingratiating. Anger suddenly disappear more than half. Face also become relaxed a lot. I don't like it when you go behind my back. Don't do anything like that again. Yeah, okay. The fast hang up, Zhao Jie still do NT forget to give Jihan brainwashing. Jihan, I really love you so much. Mo. On the cell phone, I saw Jihan's brow unfurling on the screen. And I expected the same. Zhao Jie will certainly be glib, will move on this matter, the main reason, or because Jihan is not bored with him. However, I think the incident should create some distance between the two. And all I have to do now is add to the fire. I went on the trumpet, actively looking for Jihan chat. As expected, he replied to me very cold. It's almost like a word like, or OH. Are you in a bad mood? Are you mad at your girlfriend? See this reply, I smiled. Did not expect Jihan actually admitted that he had a girlfriend. Not really slag. Your girlfriend probably didn't mean to upset you. If it were me, I wouldn't want to upset my boyfriend. When two people get along, I will pay special attention to each other's feelings. Don't you agree, brother? My extreme green tea really does work on straight men. If only she knew half as much as you do. I smile at this end of the screen. If I could be half as cruel as her, I wouldn't be bullied by her. Because of my solution, he could not help but increase my affection for a few points, and I also through monitoring, to see his attitude towards Zhao Jie changes. It's not obvious, but it's a little different. I gently poke the screen, the page to switch to Zhao Jie there. A good show. Here looking at Zhao Jie and Lu Wan check traders in a huff. No one but a few of us would have known about it. One of us must have become a traitor and told Chi-Han about it. Who could it be? Zhao Jie Baisi does not understand. I am in this end of the mobile phone, indifferent to drink a cup of tea, thinking, don't hide it from others unless you do it yourself. Zhao Jie, do sin. Sooner or later will be exposed to the sun. Zhao Jie, paranoid and extremely overbearing. She does not allow her own people have betrayed her. Plus Lu Wan, the head strategist, fan the flames. School starts the next day. Zhao Jie called her several small attendants to the toilet. I followed quietly, only to hear the sound of crying in the toilet. Zhao Jie, it wasn't me. I really didn't say it. Yeah, I swear, it wasn't me. Then came a round of applause and the shrill cries of the girls. Then only you knew that the traitor must be among you. During this time, I often see you run to Chi-Han's class. If not you, who else can be? But it doesn't matter. In case you say anything else, I'll take some pictures for you. Then we'll be good sisters again, and I'll believe you again. Tore. Clothes were torn to pieces. The sound of the toilet door was forced to hit the outside. But the door lock has long been locked. Zhao Jie. No! Help! Helpless cries of despair came from inside the toilet. Just like they did with Song Jie. At this moment, they will regret. Ever so bully a little girl? 14. As soon as this mattered, Zhao Jie's these small attendants had the suspicion gap to her, but on her hand is holding their picture, actually has to surrender under her bullies. Is also dares to be angry, does not dare to say. Looking at Lu Wan's foxy, tiger-like manner beside Zhao Jie, I couldn't help thinking about the rumors I had heard. It was said that she had turned the video of Su Lu's illness into an emoji, also as she instigates Zhao Jie to release on the net. Given her rabble-rousing nature, one would expect that she would not be wronged. Then let her taste it and suffer the consequences. At the same time, I'm still losing weight in the most determined way. Wake up every day by hunger and insomnia in hunger, in the early morning playground running around and around, sweat wantonly swaying. At that time, my classmates were still laughing at me. They thought I was delusional. Just like her, she wants the ugly duckling to turn into a swan. That's funny. Look at the way she wiggles her big ass every day when she runs on the playground. Haha, what a fool. B. The negative gossip reached my ears, but I didn't care a bit. The hurt I had suffered was far greater than their sarcasm. And in the process of my weight loss, Zhao Jie also often find me in trouble, in the class with people to isolate me, to my school bag pour drinks, in the toilet with cold water douse me, I blocked the way after school, humiliate me. I swallowed it. In the heart quietly tell yourself, one day, I will let you regret today to me all. When I went from 180 to 140 pounds, Chi-Han asked me, after talking for so long, I still don't know your name. Lu Wan, I told him. Zhao Jie, that good sister Lu Wan's Lu Wan. Through mobile phone monitoring, I chat with Chi-Han every time, are in Zhao Jie next to him, deliberately looking for him. Sure enough, Zhao Jie see often holding cell phone laughed Chi-Han from the suspicion. That day in the toilet, she looked ugly and Lu Wan said the matter. I doubt Chi-Han derailed. She spoke in a low voice, but I could hear her. Yeah, what did you find? Lu Wan asked her. No. Zhao Jie's voice was somewhat frustrated, but he said in doubt, he's not himself these days. He's always smiling on his cell phone. When we're together, we're both looking at our cell phones. It's very different from before. I'm in the soundproof room, smiling. Lu Wan's voice rang out. I'm sure it's nothing. Don't make a big deal out of it. Well, maybe. Then came the sound of the two of them leaving. I pushed open the door and went to the sink, where I sipped my hair and looked in the mirror at myself with a smirk. Soon, your reckoning will be upon you. Zhao Luwan. Looking forward to it? Jihan birthday that day. I see Zhao Jie in the monitoring for Jihan carefully prepared a birthday gift. Is a valuable watch. It seems to want to have a good birthday with Jihan. And how could I let her wish come true? When I used the monitor to monitor Zhao Jie, took him to the well-decorated restaurant, took out the gift and handed it to him. I got on the trumpet and told Jihan that there was a qualifying match today, which had been arranged with another team last week. The captain over there was Jihan's sworn enemy, and Jihan had already seen him as an eyesore, trying to take him down in the game. So, after I reminded him of that, Jihan took the gift, a very perfunctory look, and casually said, "Very good," and opened the game. I see clearly at this end of the cell phone. Zhao Jie elaborate layout of everything. Jihan didn't even look at a glance. She suddenly some unhappy, face gloomy terrible, frowned tightly together. What game are you playing? Say, Zhao Jie got together in the past. I think it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The opening of the tea, with Jihan said, "Brother, you have 4 times the mirror." Suddenly, Zhao Jie's face livid fierce. She asked quietly in the side, "You and sister in the game?" Now, Jihan into the game, perfunctory said, "Well, teammates." He naturally didn't see Zhao Jie Mao's son that flashed over Inhen and doubt, but I was in the screen this head easily captured. I smiled. After a game, Jihan won by a wide margin. Happy offline, gave me WeChat sent a "thank you sharp eyes," or "I was almost killed by a sniper." I gave her a kitten face. Zhao Jie on the side looking at us to talk about what this can be worried about her, only to see her eyes rolled. Smiling to Jihan said, "My phone is out of power. Use your phone." I go to the front desk to pay a bill. Jihan nods. Also don't take seriously. Handed the mobile phone to her. Zhao Jie took the phone away, and sure enough began to look at Jihan's WeChat. When she saw the top of the chat frame, face angry. As her fingertips flick upward, more ambiguous chatter reveals itself. When her eyes fell on the note, the anger in her eyes was clearly visible. I saw her gnashing her teeth holding the phone. Forehead blue veins are exposed and rise, a harsh growl. "Luwan, good for you." 15. After school. Zhao Jie with the threat of a few by his little sidekick will Luwan to the top of the school. Before Luwan could speak, Zhao Jie round the arm, towards Luwan directly mercilessly fan a big mouth. Luwan was stunned. But Zhao Jie's anger didn't dissipate at all. He dragged Luwan by her hair, then her knees towards her stomach, and gave her a sharp kick. Luwan immediately fell to her knees in pain. Just as he remembered, Zhao Jie was held down by a few small followers. "My man, don't you fucking touch me." Zhao Jie roared at her. Luwan on one side of the swollen face of the old high, bleeding mouth, wide eyes, looked at Zhao Jie incredulously. Zhao Jie. Him. What the hell is wrong with Mom? Zhao Jie was so angry that he twisted his face and snarled at Luwan in a vicious voice. Mother is not good to you. You have seduced my man." Luwan was wronged and her face turned red with anger. "Zhao Jie, what are you talking about?" "Don't pretend, Luwan. I saw it all." She glared at Luwan, mockingly, "You and him. Mom is a dog I raised, but also dared to seduce my man. I kill you." "What are you talking about?" See, Luwan also dared to talk back to her. Zhao Jie angry, pull Luwan hair, directly pulled her to the edge of the roof. At the moment, Luwan's 0 bodies are leaning out. Zhao Jie, as long as I let go, Luwan will fall. Looking at the height of a full 7-story building, Luwan was terrified, her voice with a cry, "Zhao Jie, I was wrong. You don't like this. Now that I know I'm wrong, fuck you." When he seduced my man, with the effort of her hand, Luwan's whole body leaned back again, and the rubble on the edge of the roof fell and shattered. Luwan was frightened to cry and her legs trembled terribly. "Can you believe I'm gonna push you off this thing right now?" "Yes, I do." Zhao Jie do NT want to make a human life, but looked at Lu Wan's face and really to gasp. She saw her really scared. Well, she pulled back from the edge of the roof, carrying hair, and hard hit a few slaps. Immediately, a kick will kick Lu Wan on the ground. He gave a color to the little attendants and said, "Let her have a good memory." The words just dropped. Those few small followers will be a roundup. In front of Lu Wan is punching and kicking, every time extremely heavy. They were bullied by Zhao Jie a few days ago, all because Zhao Jie listened to Lu Wan's slander. They themselves hate Lu Wan to the bone. Now there is an opportunity for revenge. Naturally, do not want to miss. As I hid behind, I could see clearly that Lu Wan was covered with blood and lying in a pool of it, while her minions continued to kick her in the face. Screams, punches, and kicks were heard tirelessly. At the moment of the rooftop is already a hell on earth. However, it is only the devil and the devil struggle. They kill each other. In the end, Zhao Jie with his feet on Lu Wan's face, words with a threat to warn. If I find out, don't you ever pick up Zihan again. It would never have been as simple as today. With that, she took a few small followers left, and Lu Wan curled up on the ground, like a dead person in general, with resentment to stare at Zhao Jie's back. Growl. "Zhao Jie, you fuck, wait and see." I stood at a distance, watching the two of them break up, smiling knowingly. Now, I am no longer let them trample on the ants, but the master of their lives and deaths of God. The best way to deal with evil people is to let them kill each other. Dog eat dog. Wait to die, Zhao Jie. 16. Lu Wan means what she says. At night, there is a post on the internet entitled "Pa Yi Pa 3 Zhao Jie School Bullying" post, quickly spread on the internet. Inside the detailed description of Zhao Jie bullied which students and how to bully. In case people didn't believe me, they even sent out a video. In the video, Zhao Jie and her little sidekick surrounded the girls who were left alone after school to ask for protection money, and she beat people with a stick. She also colluded with senior boys to beat up girls. The video is gory, with victims screaming and crying in despair, like giant hands reaching out from the screen, clutching people's hearts and choking them. Once the post was released, it quickly on the hot, directly rushed to the top of the first three. Zhao Jie's brutal behavior caused public anger, following a scolding. Who is this Zhao Jie of class 3? He's quite crazy. I didn't know a little girl could be so cruel. You don't know. Zhao Jie is our famous big sister of the session. People are afraid of her. The situation developed rapidly and attracted the attention of the school authorities. Zhao Jie and her followers are called to the office by the class teacher to investigate. Zhao Jie is naturally denied. Those videos on the internet are forged by others, deliberately planted on me, the teacher you believe. The head teacher frowned and said nothing. Besides, they are being bullied. Why don't you tell them and your parents? No one said it, so I didn't bully them at all. The lackeys nodded their heads, trying to clear their name. While I was outside the office, I heard clearly, could not help but clench my fist, contacted my cousin, and posted the incident on Weibo. The issue of school bullying, a social concern, suddenly became a hot search list. Along with our school, more and more people began to pay attention. Netizens in the comment section below for us these victims, condemning Zhao Jie their crimes. And I called the local TV station. All of a sudden, reporters flocked to. Things were big, directly turned not to ask the class teacher, but directly handed over to the principal. Yao Jie Duke Xiao of Qi that none of the people who had been bullied by him dared to report him for fear of retribution. Look at Zhao Jie almost escaped. I simply went directly to the reporter before, became the first to expose Zhao Jie ugly crime victims. Zhao Jie often ganged up with her classmates to bully me, blocking me in the street and calling me fat. My brother was convicted of intentional injury to protect me, but she still colluded with her senior classmates. They beat me up in the alley and they tried to shave my head. She locked me in the toilet, and because one of my classmates helped me, she beat me in public and made me sick. She recorded a video and posted it on the internet. She became an object of amusement and killed herself. I'm here to expose Zhao Jie's crime of bullying his classmates. The flashbulbs were flashing, the press releases were ringing in my ears, and reporters were asking me questions. Why are you the only one to report Zhao Jie? I heard she bullied a lot of people. Why didn't anyone report her? One question after another came to me when I didn't know how to answer it. Sun Yuan, the monitor, stepped forward. What she said is all true. I will also report Zhao Jie for bullying her classmates. I don't want to be bullied by her anymore. With the squad leader enthusiastically report, more victims began to appear. They stand behind me, like a big tree, supporting me behind. Give me strength. I want to report it. I want to report it too. Numerous witnesses will be overruled Zhao Jie's sophistry. Zhao Jie's parents were directly invited to the school. The victims' parents in See the News also rushed over. Looking at them all one by one nest in the arms of their parents. Your parents love comfort. My heart cannot help but some loss. My dad, I don't think he's coming. The parents of the victims went straight to the principal and demanded answers. We sent our children here to be educated, not bullied. If it weren't for today's news, I wouldn't know how many beatings my kids get. We must also answer for this. Zhao Jie's mother was apologizing constantly, but Zhao Jie was still unrepentant. She pointed the finger at me, glared at me, and shouted, "Qinling, you framed me. I'll fucking kill you today," and said. She came at me like a mad dog. It was no use trying to stop her. All the other students were afraid to hide in their parents' arms. There was no one behind them but me. She was about to claw me in the face. A huge shadow will cover me. Familiar with the feeling let me shiver, I subconsciously back. I saw my father standing behind me. Tightly grasped Zhao Jie to grasp my hand, will pull me behind him. Only to see my father's eyes sharp, straight to see Zhao Jie's parents, in front of me. Dare to treat my daughter like this, is it too much? My eyes moistened, and a long-lost sense of security now enveloped me. My dad, he's coming. I'm no longer alone, all alone. I'm protected too. 17. How can we keep our children safe when people like that are still in school? If this matter isn't settled today, we'll sue the Education Bureau. Yes, the attitude of many parents was unified. In order to appease the parents' emotions, the principal had to judge Zhao Jie in front of us. Zhao Jie repeatedly bullied his classmates, had a bad attitude, and was given the punishment of expulsion. Always didn't speak Zhao Jie mother angry, pulling Zhao Jie's hair. In front of everyone mercilessly fanned her mouth, while playing, also scolded. You're always getting me into trouble, you child. I'll kill you today. Between the words, Zhao Jie, his mother's second slap fell on Zhao Jie's face. Apologize to your classmates. Her mother growled. Zhao Jie, but to push away his mother, refused to shout. They all deserve to die. Want me to apologize? No way. When parents heard this, they gnashed their teeth and became angry. Fire her. She must be fired. No, I would never put my child in such a dangerous place. His mother listened to, immediately also anxious-eyed. How dare you talk tough to me? I'm going to kill you today. Zhao Jie, his mother, picked up the corner of the broom toward Zhao Jie, severely whipped past. Zhao Jie pain showed his teeth, but still hard mouth. His mother see her like this, more angry. Continue to play. Is it easy for me to support you? You are not studying hard in school bullying students. I'll kill you today. Principal to block, but regardless of his mother, Zhao Jie to break free. Hate iron not into steel to pull crouching. All blue Zhao Jie roared. Apologize to your classmates. Did you hear that? Zhao Jie was dragged over by her mother, holding his head one by one toward us to apologize. Sorry. She bowed toward me the way I'd once been held down by my father to apologize. Only this time I'd been wrong, and this time, she deserved it. I was on the verge of tears. The wicked man at last lowered her expensive head. In the darkness, we finally saw a bit of light. Subsequently, Zhao Jie, his mother, and begged the principal and the families of the victims, begging them to give Zhao Jie a chance. The parents looked at Zhao Jie's attitude is quite sincere face, also no longer pursue, and the principal there also relaxed, from expelled into detention and warned. If there is a repeat offense, directly expelled. The next morning, Jia, at the face of all teachers and students, read a 1,000-word review. When she came down from the stage, her face was ugly, her dark eyes flashing with venom, and she gnashed her teeth and stared at us. Back to the class, but also put down harsh words. You can do it. This isn't over. I'll kill you myself. I know. Jia won't change. This apology will only make her worse. 36109513 I lost weight because of crazy and malnutrition. Fainted. My father worried about my health. To me and the school asked for a long leave. Recuperate the body. But Jia first revenge the object became Luwan. I'm monitoring her remotely. See her after school didn't go, but with a group of hooligans at the door waiting for people. They dyed their hair of various colors and looked at the people passing by. The students almost walked around when they saw it. I see. As soon as Luwan got out of school, the thugs surrounded her as if they had seen her target. One of them waved in the distance, and a beat-up van drove right up to her. Before Luwan could react, she was thrown onto the bus by the hooligans. Help! Help! She screamed for help, but the van had no license plates and was driving so fast she had to be seen walking away. Jia stay in situ, hands embraced, eyes time cold poisonous dust and go to the van, suffused with sneer at the corners of the mouth. Less than half an hour later, the van drove back and Luwan was thrown from it, her hair disheveled, covered in blood, her face covered with bruises and her clothes torn. The people around him screamed in terror and ran away. Only Jia, smiling to stay in place. When Luwan saw Jia, she almost crawled to the ground and rushed to her, clutching her collar. Her eyes were scarlet and her gaze was sad and hopeless. Jia, how can your heart be so evil? Is it evil? You should have known what the consequences would be when you posted my story online. Jia said leisurely. Then, patted Luwan's face, smiling, said, Now I can also learn from you. Put some things on the internet. Luwan was scared to inspire spirit, splash and kneeling in front of Jia, begging. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I deserve to die. Please spare me. Jia is expected. The corners of the mouth always hang to smile. I grabbed her hair, pulled her to no man's land, hands akimbo, a condescending look. Aren't you crazy? Luwan is like a huge stimulus, plotting to kowtow to Jia, like crazy to pull Jia's pants legs, begging. I beg you, let me go. Don't post it online. I was wrong. I deserve to die. Jia fiercely toward her chest kicked a foot, full face ground disgust. Read our sisters afield. What to do next, you also know? Yes, I know. Luwan said as she kowtowed to her. I hid in the distance, somewhat incredulously looking at the scene. In the heart already guessed 7-8 points. Just that half an hour, Luwan must have suffered a great stimulus, and was Jia grasp what handle, otherwise, the person who dared to expose Jia before will not become so now. I have to say, Jia's heart is really cruel. He was so cruel to his former friends. The next day, I heard Luwan quit school. She made a video of herself saying she was Kozo and that she deserved to die, holding a blank piece of paper above her head that said, I'm a bitch. The video was sent to the circle of friends as well as the campus network. It was reposted so quickly, it became very popular and everyone started talking about it. They are all passing. She disappeared that half an hour, by several men to that, and some people say it is afraid of Jia revenge, was stimulated to do so. And then I heard. Her spirit was greatly stimulated, produced the symptoms of schizophrenia, often talking to himself, said someone wanted to kill her, said someone patted her naked, to threaten her. And there is a suicide. Her parents have been sent to a mental hospital. I'm afraid I'll have to spend the rest of my life in a hospital. I looked up at the sky and sighed. So, there's a payback for aiding and abetting, right? People, or to be a good person is right. 19. Jia got rid of Luwan. I'll be the next one to get even. and my body has been, well, the resumption of classes. I've decided to strike first. I took the initiative to find a few of Jia's minions, opened to them and said, I have a way to help you delete videos and photos. Now I just want to ask you are willing to resist Jia? They looked at each other, but none of them answered me directly. You saw for yourselves what happened to Luwan. You guys aren't as good as Luwan's relationship with her. She treats Luwan like this, not to mention you. Do you really want to stay with her and continue to do bad things? These several people after the last thing already see through Jia. Plus I now sow a provocation, immediately joined me. You say what to do next, we all listen to you. I smile. Come close to their ears and tell them your plans one by one. Since you decided to help me, I will never threaten you like Jia. I deleted the photo in front of you. Say, I will cousin ahead of time to do a good job of the virus implanted in Jia's mobile phone. A moment of time. Jia mobile phone is directly formatted. All the video, picture all disappeared. The girls were almost crying with joy. Holding hands so tight, it felt like a dream from the devil. Of course, in the afternoon, Jia blocked me in the corridor of the school. The laboratory building is deserted. Few people come to it, and the camera is not even there. It is a good place for Jia to commit violence. She walked up to me with a sneering face and cornered me. All right, Chinling, can't you see you're good? If you give me up in front of a reporter, why do you want to make a name for yourself at school? The funny thing is, those idiots in class. I can't believe they actually took you for a savior. I really thought you could defeat me and save them. She grabbed me by the throat and forced me to look up at her. Today, I'll kill you right here and see if you can do it again. I saw that she had hidden a knife out of nowhere and was about to stab me in the face. This time, I didn't flinch as usual. Instead, she arched her legs, caught her off guard, and kicked her hard in the stomach. She didn't expect a backhand, so I kicked her and she stepped back painfully, losing strength in her hands. I grabbed her by the neck and shoved her into a corner. Unconsciously, she swung her arms around me to fight back. I grabbed her wrists and put my hand around her throat. Red-faced and out of breath, she struggled to call out to her followers behind her. You're all dead. Come up here and help. Jia's followers took orders, surrounded us both, rolled up his sleeves, and walked towards me. 20. Jia eyes flashing light, a look at the good show. Who knows, their goal a turn. Dragging Jia's hair, she threw her to the ground. Jia was dazed, haven't had time to react. They have been surrounded. The next second, Punch's kick falls like the rain. Jia screams painfully. Are you crazy? You dare hit me? This group of small followers already hated Jia, now finally can find the opportunity, and how can easily pass. Do you treat us as human beings? We are loyal to you. How have you treated us? Jia was totally incredulous and screamed with pain. Believe it or not, I posted the photos on the internet. Your phone is already formatted, you idiot. Now you dare threaten us? You're going to get yourself killed. Say, they hit harder. Jia screaming, earth-shaking. All you punch, I kick. Jia suddenly covered with bruises. She fell in a pool of blood, crouching body, hands to protect the head. And he's still talking. You are my dogs. How dare you do this to me? Her voice was hysterical, and this only angered them more. How dare you? Slap mercilessly in Jia's face. Then one of them picked up just Jia fell to the ground a pair of scissors, face mercilessly hot. Jia, you must appreciate the shape of your head that I designed for you. Jia smell sound, face is full of fear. What are you doing? I warn you, if you touch me, I'll kill you. Fuck off. But those people ignored, with scissors constantly approaching. I watched Jia's hair mixed with blood falling with the wind, her screams, and she had bullied the voice of those people no different. Turns out, she's afraid of pain, too. Jia was beaten to death by several of them, lying on the ground like a dead fish. They tore up her clothes, took pictures, and left as she had once done to them. I walked up to her, looked at her, leaned over her, and asked her, like God, whether she was alive or dead. Does it hurt? Zhao Jie now, bruised, covered in blood, see me even shivering. I smiled, touched her shaved head. When you hurt us, did you ever think it would come to this? I heard that after that day, Zhao Jie was sent to the hospital. He suffered broken ribs, a bone fracture arm, and multiple soft tissue bruises. He was hospitalized for 2 weeks before returning to school. But what she didn't know was that when she came back, her classmates at school had changed her beyond recognition. Without the photo threat, her little sisters were no longer afraid of her, and they hated her for what she had done. Before she returned to school on the release of the word, no one is allowed to ignore Zhao Jie. Zhao Jie, this kind of villain, was in school will only bully people. Natural is no true friend. Now even her side people began to turn against. Natural also won't be nosy. And so, Zhao Jie came back the first day, saw his desk was filled with garbage. The desktop is full of vulgar curse words. Physical education. Her school uniform was thrown into the toilet. When she went to the toilet to pick it up, a bucket of cold water was thrown directly over her head. She tried to open the door, but found it locked. Everything I've been through with her. She wanted to fight at first, but without her followers, her authority plummeted, and with the threat of her picture in their hands, she was intimidated. Everyone is no longer afraid of her, who dares to bully her. The whole class are isolated her. She was judged wherever she went, especially when her wig blew in the wind, and I could see the tears in her eyes as she left. She sleeps all day, just like I did. 21. Zhao Jie finally couldn't hold on, began to like Chi-Han for help. I can see clearly on the monitor of the mobile phone, Zhao Jie purr to tell their grievances these days, but she is now shaved hair, wearing a wig look, really let Chi-Han cannot mention compassion. Every time she said a word, Chi-Han perfunctory nod. And I don't think the fire is hot enough. I purposely changed my profile picture. Can't see my appearance, but can easily identify as a beauty. As soon as the head picture changes, Chi Hanton has been warm to me many. I sneered. In Zhao Jie in time, looking for Chi-Han play games, deliberately open voice dialogue with him, the voice of baby talk, let Zhao Jie immediately suspicious, angry. Chi-Han, who are you screwing behind my back? Chi-Han at the moment is in the game to kill everywhere. Play happily. There is no psychology to her. Zhao Jie completely angry. A grab Chi-Han mobile phone. Bang. Thrown to the ground. The screen was falling apart, but the camera was still working, so I could watch them. Zhao Jie, are you fucking sick? Did you hook up with my friend Luan again? Chaihan, I didn't think you'd let people around me off the hook. You're a monster. Chi-Han was scolded, immediately came temper. I pull off Zhao Jie's bald head, picked up the phone, according to her face, the sarcastic way of verbal abuse. Don't you look at yourself in the mirror? I'm fucking sick of looking at you. Zhao Jie was injured self-esteem, red eyes, but still grabbed the phone, looking at his chat records. I deliberately and Chi-Han ambiguous chat content, coupled with strange beautiful girl's head, instantly annoyed Zhao Jie. Her voice sobs. The whole person furiously loudly questioned Chi-Han. Who is this person in the end? Want to come to this moment? Zhao Jie, I really understand. This Lu Wan is not the Lu Wan she thought she was. She took revenge on the wrong person. I saw Zhao Jie stagger back 2 steps, as has been firmly believed that the world collapsed, eyes with tears, looking at the man in front of him, shouting, "Why did you betray me?" Zhao Jie crazy shout, rushed past holding Chi-Han's arm, kept questioning, "Who is she? What is your relationship with her? Say it." She kept shouting, causing Chi-Han's class to look at both of them. Chi-Han suddenly felt embarrassed and pushed her away in disgust, saying in a bad voice, "Fuck you. Fuck you." Zhao Jie is not reconciled to the death of his grip, not to continue to question the unforgiving. Chi-Han, you tell me clearly. Who the hell is this vixen? Chi-Han shook him off, his disgust visible in his eyes, his face cold, and said to her without feeling, word for word. Now that you know, I'm trying to tell you, Oigo is sick of you, so stop pestering me. Zhao Jie in speech, get angry all over shiver, round arm toward Chi-han's face, mercilessly slapped a face. Don't you dare do this to me for a vixen. Zhao Jie completely can't believe it. He will be Chi-han so treated. Completely can't accept. Crazy shouting. Chi-han was hit a mouth, immediately furious, face distorted terrible, swung his fist toward Zhao Jie's head on the hard hit in the past. Zhao Jie was beaten standing unstable, leaning body directly hit the table, head knock out a big bag. Red and swollen, she covered her head in disbelief, angry shouting, Chi-han, you hit. Don't fucking hit me. Say, she once again toward Chi-han to rush toward and desperately bite his arm. Chi-han was completely angered. A grab Zhao Jie's neck, pressed her to the ground, waving his fist, desperately hit her face. Zhao Jie, what happened to Song Jie at the beginning was that you were playing a trick, and we haven't even settled the score yet. I can be with whoever I want. Get the fuck out of here. Zhao Jie screams, the pain curled into a ball. Chi-han still refused to let her go, swung his arm and fanned her several big mouth, picked up the side of the chair, toward Zhao Jie's head hard hit in the past. With a bang, blood splattered. Zhao Jie lying in a pool of blood, like a corpse, no breath. And Chi-han rises, still toward Zhao Jie, body mercilessly kicked a few feet. Zhao Jie still didn't have any reaction. Terrified, the class ran screaming out of the room. At the moment, they seemed to have become a class of human purgatory. Such a big noise alarmed the school authorities. In a short time, police cars and ambulances arrived at the same time. Zhao Jie was sent to the hospital, and Chi-han was handcuffed to the police station. Two impetuous devils, no one wins. 22. But things are far from over. After Chi-han jailed, they will blame it all on Zhao Jie, and let it be known, he and Zhao Jie, sure antithesis, will make her wish to die. Zhao Jie at the beginning also disapproving, until after going to school, just know Chi-han this words is true. Chi-han family is rich, outside the little brother in order to curry favor with him, even if he went to the bureau, also obedient to his words, so he now ordered to take good care of Zhao Jie, they naturally do. And then, Zhao Jie's hair as long as a little long will be blocked in the road, ask for protection money, and will shave her head. She will often be blocked in the toilet, came the sound of tearing clothes. Online there is a QQ number. Every day in the update Zhao Jie was bullied the whole process. In the video, she was in a mess, crying hysterically, desperate for help, just like us who had been bullied by her. All the things I've been through, they've all turned into her. She tasted the evil she had sown. Long-term past depressed life. Let Zhao Jie, the whole person, completely collapsed. She began to be taciturn. Don't talk to any people, often alone in the days. At that time, I have thinned to 90 pounds, completely out of their own once. I asked Zhao Jie out on my own initiative. Now Zhao Jie has been tortured by them like people. Ghosts do not like ghosts. I looked at her with no fear in my eyes. I wasn't afraid of her anymore. Zhao Jie, do you regret it? She looked up at me with empty eyes. What do you regret? Bully us. Oh, she chuckled, looking at me with an expression of hatred. You think you've won me? What do I have to do with you now? I look at her like this, and I just feel sad. I walked up to her and showed her my trumpet. All at once her eyes were scarlet, her face full of rage, and she seized me by the collar and snarled. You. It's you. I smiled. You provoked Lu Wan and me. It was all you. I shoved her away, and she stumbled against the wall, unable to fight back. Not only Lu Wan, but also your boyfriend Chi-han, your sidekick. Zhao Jie went crazy and shouted, I should have guessed it was you. I'll kill you. There was a sneer at the corners of my mouth. Take care of yourself first. They won't leave you alone. They'll do to you what you did to me. Zhao Jie, take care of yourself. Sure enough, in this day after day, she couldn't hold on, cut her wrists. Blood dyed her clothes. I watched her being taken away by ambulance. That moment in the sky, I seemed to see Su Lu. She seemed to be smiling. Laugh at the bad guys get punished. Laugh at US look forward to the light. Turns out, Jia, you'll hurt too. You can't stand it either. You break down sometimes. Attempted suicide. Worried about her mental state, his mother dropped out of school. School without her, my day becomes calm. I began to put all the experience into the study, in the best condition to meet the college entrance examination. The days passed quickly, and it was time for the college entrance examination. The scorching sun, a group of parents outside the school anxiously waiting for their children. I did not hold what hope, but when I saw my parents in the crowd, excited or shed tears, they saw me too and came towards me waving, like it was ever there. My father affectionately touched my head, and my mother carefully while she cooked mung bean soup handed me. I looked at them. The mouth could not help but rise. My heart just feel waves of sweetness swept away. All grown up. Our Ling Ling and Xing Xing is all grown up. My father smiled, but my mother couldn't help wiping away her tears. If only I could see Xiao Feng taking the college entrance examination, she said. My dad pushed my mom. Don't say that on a big day. My mother stopped, but it stuck a thorn in my heart. Yeah, if only my brother Feng Kramati could take the Gaokao. After the college entrance examination, I cancelled his trumpet. Luan completely disappeared in Chi Han's life, but also completely disappeared in my life, like a dream man. Never had a general. I went to see Su Lu again. She is still smiling so sunny, is from the heart of the bright. I will be ready for her to put flowers, looking at her, the first time a sincere smile. 23. On the third day after the college entrance examination, the police took me to the police station. Let me cooperate with the investigation. I had no idea what had happened until the police showed me the photo of the dead man. Zhao Jia is dead. Do you know that Luan escaped from the mental hospital and stabbed Zhao Jia to death? I looked shocked, my eyes widened, and shook my head in disbelief. Later, under questioning by the police, I found out it was Luan who knew that Zhao Jia had no pictures threatening her, and she was living in a mental hospital. She attributed all the mistakes to Zhao Jia, and she determined that Zhao Jia had killed her, so he found Zhao Jia revenge. Sneak out, while Zhao Jia alone, stabbed her to death with a knife. And the police there has also confirmed that Zhao Jia had taken some photos of Luan to threaten her. Perhaps, even Zhao Jia did not expect. She herself died at the hands of her own evildoers. Finally, the police told me that after Luan killed her brother, she came to the police station to turn herself in. She told me everything about Zhao Jia's yelling to stop me and beating my brother, and there was a video to prove it. In the video, my brother is beaten by the crowd and can be seen fighting back. I gave the video to my lawyer, appealed against my brother's case, and the court ruled that my brother had acted in self-defense and committed manslaughter. He was acquitted on the spot. My mother in the audience excited straight tears. Even my father turned his back, wiping his eyes with his sleeve. At last, our family could be reunited, and Luan, in the gallery of the court, looked at me with tears in her eyes, bowed to me sincerely and apologized. Sorry, Chenling. Before, it was always fun for me to bully you with bullying Jia. Until I became you and the one being bullied, I couldn't really understand how painful it was for the victim. Really, I'm sorry. I smiled at her, and at that moment, reconciled with her, and finally reconciled with myself. Looking at the blue sky on the free birds, holding the hand of the university notice, I just feel relaxed. They are bullies who build their happiness on the suffering of others, never thinking that one day they will be buried in their own hands. All suffering is not worth singing, to sing from the suffering of their own through. I firmly believe all bullies in the world will get what they deserve, and my life will begin anew.